All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to talk about Stefon Diggs more and how the Chiefs are kind of that one team that was banned from getting Diggs, which, again, not really a surprise just because, this is kind of one of those rivalries in the NFL between the Bills and the Chiefs, how the Chiefs have been that team that eliminates the Bills from the playoffs. The Bills did not want to deal him. Now, there is a possibility that Diggs could still end up on the Chiefs, and we'll get into that in a second. But basically, so Chris Sims, he talked about it on PFT Live, and this is what he said. From what I do know, he was allowed to seek a trade from anybody in the league except the Kansas City Chiefs. That's what I've been told by multiple people. He was allowed to do that. The Chiefs are the only team that weren't going to trade to. And yeah, I mean, it's simple enough there. Because, again, what I just said, this has become a rivalry, somewhat. These teams have clashed a lot over the last several years in the playoffs and the regular season. Now, the Bills have kind of owned the Chiefs in the regular season, and the Chiefs have owned the Bills in the postseason. He wasn't going to get traded to the Chiefs. Now, the one thing that I thought was funny, so I was listening to WFAN here in New York, and Boomer Esiason did a Sports Minute, and he talked about the Chiefs being the team that was banned from the list of teams that Diggs could be traded to. So basically the only team that was banned. And he said, well, you essentially traded him to the Texans, who could become that team that is a thorn in your side, just like the Chiefs are. Which is true, because look at what the Texans are building over there. You pair Diggs up with Nico Collins and Tank Dell. Tank Dell, before he got hurt, was having a good season. Nico Collins had a breakout season. C.J.Stroud, great first season. And he's only going to get better. Because now you bring in Stefon Diggs. And maybe I'm a little bit higher on Diggs as opposed to other people. I feel like Diggs still has good football left in him. I don't think he's completely fallen off. Now, again, there's some things that you've seen, in the playoffs and at certain points last year where signs could be pointing to a decline for Diggs. But he got off to such a great start. So I think, with the offense changing in Buffalo, I think that had something to do with it. I think Diggs still is going to be a good wide receiver, and this was a great move for the Texans getting him. But I thought what Boomer Esiason said was funny is, you didn't trade him to the Chiefs, but you traded him to a team that you're going to be competing with to get to a Super Bowl, to go further in the playoffs, and that's the Houston Texans. So if the Bills match up against them in the playoffs, I mean, honestly, you can't even say depending on where it is. Because the Bills, last two home playoff games, they lost. Now, we'll see how C.J.Stroud is in year 2 on the road, because I think the Texans, they were a different team at home as opposed to on the road. Now, again, they went to play the number 1 seeded Ravens in the playoffs, and that was going to be that was a tall task. And, the season ended there, didn't really play well, but, you saw what they did against the Browns in Houston. They torched them. Also helped by 2 Joe Flacco pick sixes, but still. The Texans also lost to, now again, next year's a different year, but Texans also lost to the Panthers on the road too. So they were a different team on the road as opposed to at home. But still, the Bills got to play the Texans in the playoffs. That's going to be a tough matchup. So, you didn't trade him to the Chiefs, but you traded him to the Texans, who are an up-and-coming team, and they are going to be a very good team in 2024. Right now, I look at them as the favorites in the division. We know this. And again, we talked about this in the production meeting. Could you make the case they're the best team in the AFC? You definitely can, but I'm not going to. I am not going to, because of the team that's a part of this show segment here. That's the Kansas City Chiefs. Can't do it. until somebody dethrones them, which they have gotten dethroned by the Bengals, by the Patriots, even though the Patriots still kind of ran the AFC with Tom Brady. The Patriots, Brady kind of passed the torch to Mahomes and said, the AFC is now yours. I'm going to go play in Tampa for a few years and win another Super Bowl. But the AFC is now yours. And ever since the Patriots dynasty ended, it's now the Chiefs dynasty. Now again, have the Chiefs always won? No. But they pretty much have gone to the Super Bowl every single year. Or they've gone to the AFC Championship game every single year. Mahomes has been a part of the, since Mahomes became the starter. But yeah, they lost to the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. They lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. And it took overtime. Both times. So, yeah, I still look at the Chiefs as the best team in the AFC. And coming off of back-to-back Super Bowls, and especially the one in 2023 where you had all these struggles on offense, and it didn't matter. So, yes, I'm still putting the Kansas City Chiefs as the team to beat. The Texans, they have done a great job this offseason. Again, I look at them as right now, I would say that they're a top 3 team. I think I'd probably still put the Ravens ahead of them. Again, I like them ahead of everybody in their division. Well, actually, but then there's the Bengals. I got to knock them down a little bit. So top 4. Top 4 team. I think right now I like them better than the Bills. I like them better than the Dolphins. I do. So I would probably put them top 4. Top 4. I still like the Bengals with the healthy Joe Burrow. But listen, C.J.Stroud went into Cincinnati and beat Burrow. Burrow was a little banged up. Well, towards the end of the game, I think that's when he hit his hand on a player, and that's what led to the wrist injury. But a healthy Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, and then, of course, Patrick Mahomes, I'm putting them ahead of the Texans at the moment. But we still got the draft. So they're going to load up on the draft. And I mean, again, I am really excited to see what the Texans are able to do in 2024. But now with Stefon Diggs, so they reworked his contract, so he's going to become a free agent after the 2024 season. So I know I mentioned that on one of the previous shows this week, but he's going to be a free agent after this year. And it's possible that maybe he does end up with the Chiefs anyways, and he just signs with them after this year. It's possible. Now, again, is it going to happen? I don't know. But, the Bills banned the Chiefs from getting an opportunity to maybe trade for him. But the Chiefs could still end up with him anyways. And now if he does that, if he went to the Chiefs, you would probably sit back and say, that might have been something to just throw a jab at the Bills. Kind of stick it to them because, just to how things were going the last couple of seasons. But again, only time will tell. Right now, he met with C.J.Stroud. They were working out together. Him and the other receivers, I believe, they got together. So already trying to build a rapport with his new teammates, and we'll see what they could do. But I just thought it was kind of interesting. Well, not really interesting, but funny how, the Chiefs were banned. There was no way that they were getting Stefon Diggs if they ended up trading him. And they did, but they traded him to the Texans, who could become a problem now for the Bills and make the path even harder to get to a championship game and try to get to a Super Bowl. So, again, got the whole draft. The Bills, they're going to add a receiver one way or another. They did add Curtis Samuel this offseason, but they're going to want to add some more receivers. And the draft is probably, at this point, it's the best way to go, unless they go after one of the receivers that's still available. So, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah. So actually, quick news. Actually. Oh wait. Breaking news. So, I mean, this was about like an hour ago. So we actually do have an opponent for the Eagles in Week 1 in Brazil that Friday, and it will be. Now I know I talked about the two teams. They did pick a team. It will be the Green Bay Packers. They will be playing the Philadelphia Eagles in Brazil Week 1 of the NFL season that Friday. So get ready. I'm excited for that. Should be a good game. Packers, solid off. But both teams had good off seasons, I think. Still got the draft, like I keep saying. But, what the Packers have done, signing Xavier McKinney, bringing in Josh Jacobs, the Eagles, the moves they made on defense, bringing in Saquon Barkley. Jordan Love had a great end to his season. Jalen Hurts looking for a bounce back. Should be good. I'm looking forward to that. And the game will be on Peacock. So make sure to, have a friend, a family member, an acquaintance lend you their Peacock account in case you don't have it and don't feel like paying for it. Make sure that you have it for this game because that will be the second game of the season. Packers-Eagles. So looking forward to that. Like I said, it should be a good game. And yeah, Friday night football. You got that, and then of course the night before that you're gonna have the Chiefs playing. We'll see. Maybe they play the Texans. Maybe they play the Bills. Maybe they play. Well, actually, I don't know what. I think the Texans. The Texans, I think, are an away team, so they could pick them. But we'll see. So yeah, just wanted to bring that up. Got to use the breaking news feature once again, even though again this was like over an hour ago. I saw it on the NFL's Instagram. They posted it, so I did want to bring that up. But yeah, so Packers Eagles, get ready for that. That will be Week 1 on Peacock. So we're gonna take our final break of the show, and then when we come back, we're gonna discuss a rival of the Packers, and that is the Minnesota Vikings and what they're planning on doing with this draft. Probably going to go quarterback. That's what we're going to discuss when we come back from our final break of the show. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.